Hello and welcome back, my friends. If you're new here, my name is Laura, and I usually make videos about hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome to help educate, raise awareness, and share my experiences and advice living with this condition. But today we are straying away from my usual hypermobile EDS content to talk about classical-like EDS. I'll be making a video for each of the 12 rarer subtypes of EDS, so check out the ones I've already released and stay tuned for future videos. So what exactly is classical-like Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome? Classical-like EDS is a rare genetic connective tissue disorder characterized by severe skin hyperextensibility, which is very stretchy skin, velvety skin texture, generalized joint hypermobility, which are joints that move past a normal range of motion, also known as being double jointed throughout the entire body, and easy bruising. Classical-like EDS belongs to a group of related genetic connective tissue disorders known as the Ehlers-Danlos syndromes. There are currently 13 classified subtypes of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, with the most common being the hypermobile subtype, which accounts for about 90% of all EDS cases. Classical-like EDS is considered extremely rare and accounts for less than 1% of all EDS cases and has a prevalence of less than 1 in a million people. Classical-like EDS is caused by a genetic variant on the TNXB gene. The TNXB gene is responsible for providing instructions for the production of a protein called tensin X. Tensin X is involved in helping to maintain the structure of connective tissue that helps support the joints, skin, organs, bones, blood vessels, and many other parts of the body. The specific gene mutation that causes classical-like EDS is inherited in an autosomal recessive pattern, meaning that someone must have 2 copies of the gene mutation in order to inherit the disorder, 1 copy from each parent. If a person only has 1 copy of the gene mutation, they are considered to be an unaffected carrier and do not have classical-like EDS, but could possibly produce a child with classical-like EDS if they reproduce with another carrier of the gene mutation. What sets classical-like EDS apart from the hypermobile and other subtypes of EDS, besides the specific TNXB gene mutation, are the signs and symptoms of the disorder. People with classical-like EDS will almost always have severe skin hyperextensibility with a velvety texture and the absence of atrophic scarring, which are scars that indent into the skin, generalized joint hypermobility, and easy bruising and/or spontaneous ecchymosis, which is essentially spontaneous bruising. Classical-like EDS is typically diagnosed via genetic testing, but there is also a set of diagnostic criteria, mostly to help clinicians decide if genetic testing is warranted, but also to aid in the diagnosis if genetic testing is not available or feasible. The diagnostic criteria for classical-like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome contains both major and minor criteria. In order to be diagnosed with classical-like EDS, a person must meet all 3 major criteria and have a family history compatible with autosomal recessive inheritance. I'm not exactly sure why there is minor criteria at all, since the minor criteria are not counted towards a diagnosis, but I imagine they are there to help decide if genetic testing is warranted. The 3 major criteria include skin hyperextensibility with a velvety texture and absence of atrophic scarring, generalized joint hypermobility with or without recurrent dislocations, most commonly seen in the shoulders and ankles, and easy bruisable skin and/or spontaneous ecchymosis. The 7 minor criteria include foot deformities such as a broad plump forefoot, brachydactyly or short toes with excessive skin, pes planus or flat feet, hallux valgus or bunions, pyogenic papules, which are little lobules of fat that poke through the skin of the heels when standing, edema or swelling caused by fluid retention in the legs in the absence of cardiac failure, mild proximal and distal muscle weakness, which is weakness in the extremities, axonal polyneuropathy, which is weakness with a pins and needles sensation or a loss of sensation in the arms and legs, atrophy of the muscles in the hands and feet, acrogeric hands, meaning old-looking hands, mallet fingers, clinodactyly, which is having a finger or fingers that curve abnormally to the side, most often seen in the pinkies, brachydactyly or short fingers, and vaginal, uterine, or rectal prolapse. Just like many of the other subtypes of EDS, classical-like EDS is treated by managing individual symptoms, usually with a focus on the skin and joints. Treatment options to manage symptoms may include medications, lifestyle modifications, pain management, joint bracing, mobility aids, surgery, and physical therapy. Because classical-like EDS is a very rare condition, and because you can't tell just by looking at someone that they have it, people with this disorder are often labeled as hypochondriacs, and that's exactly why I make these videos, to bring visibility to these invisible chronic conditions. Do you or someone you know have classical-like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? Let me know down in the comment section. If you thought this video was helpful, please click on the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel, and don't worry, it's completely free. If you click on the notification bell icon, you will be notified when I release new videos. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.